Hello. This week we're going to be talking about body paragraphs. Specifically, planning the body of your essay, composing the body paragraphs, the topic sentence, paragraph development, length, unity, coherence, and sequence. In the body, it's composed of paragraphs that support the essay's thesis statement. When you begin to plan the body of your essay, it's usually a good idea to create at least an informal or a working outline where you note each main topic that you want to cover and then each paragraph and what each paragraph will cover. So for example, in the example here, we're looking at free services, and then under free services, which is the main topic, the student plans to talk about many courses on improving study skills, tutoring, specifically composition and math, weekly seminars, specifically stress management, test anxiety, and building vocabulary, and then testing for learning disabilities. He's got another couple of headings with paragraphs below them, but looking at example 1, free services, we can see that there's going to be at least 3 paragraphs that encompass all of this information. So, as you're constructing your body paragraphs, remember that most of your body paragraphs should have a focused topic sentence. Body paragraphs should also have adequate development, unity, and coherence. So it's time to start a new paragraph when you're changing topics. What you have in your paragraph should be coherent, it should progress, it should explain, and it should always relate back to your thesis. If it doesn't relate back to your thesis, chances are it does not belong in your paragraph, in your paper. So what is the topic sentence? Most body paragraphs present one main point expressed in a topic sentence. They serve 3 important functions, which it supports the thesis by clearly stating a main point in the discussion, it announces what the paragraph will be about, and it controls the subject matter of the paragraph. The entire discussion must relate to and support the topic sentence. So almost like a mini thesis statement for that paragraph. So again, if it doesn't touch back to what your topic sentence is about, it should not be in your paper. So when we think back to our example, where he's talking about mini courses on improving study skills, well, if in this paragraph he starts talking about stress management, that's overlap. So he wants to make sure that he refocuses and speaks specifically about mini courses on improving study skills. And again, any paragraph that you have should relate back to your overarching thesis statement, which should control your whole paper. So if the thesis statement is the actual car, you should look at your topic sentences more like the wheels. They're how you're going to get to the end point. So how do you focus your topic sentence? Here are some examples of unfocused and focused sentences. Unfocused is, too many people treat animals badly in experiments. Okay, well, what people and how are they treated badly? And what kind of experiments are you even talking about? So to focus, you want to be as specific as possible and state who the parties are. Think about the questions we learn in, I don't know, elementary school, junior high. Who, what, when, where, how, why. If you can answer those questions more specifically in your topic sentences and in your thesis statement as well, do it. Don't leave those hanging out there. So to focus this sentence, we want to say the cosmetic industry, that's what people, often harms animals in unnecessary experiments designed to test products. So we're clear. It is the cosmetic industry that is doing the treating of animals badly. What kind of experiments? Well, they're unnecessary according to the author. And what kind? Well, the kind that are used to design products. So here again we have grades are an unfair pain in the neck. Again, too broad, all grades, and how are they unfair? So You can focus more specifically. A course grade based on 2 multiple choice exams doesn't accurately measure a student's knowledge of the subject. So that's much more clear. So you can take a look at the other example. So paragraph development. The information in each paragraph must adequately explain, exemplify, define, or in some other way support your topic sentence. Specific supporting evidence, such as examples and details, has a better chance of convincing the reader. Vague generalities or repetitious ideas are not convincing. So, again, as we've mentioned a couple times in this video, make sure your paragraphs are hanging together. So it's almost like that song about the leg bones connected to the knee bone. In this case, we're thinking about the thesis is our driver. It's connected to the topic sentence connected to the whole paragraph, and that's how you flesh out your essay. So your thesis is going to be what everything in the paper has to touch back to. And if it can't relate to the thesis, it doesn't really belong in your paper. Your paper goes unfocused when you move away from the things that you've specified in your thesis statement. With the paragraph development, all of those paragraphs, they need to have that topic sentence. Most paragraphs need to have that topic sentence, and the topic sentence guides the paragraph. So again, if you're talking about student support services, if it doesn't relate to student support services, that's not the right paragraph for whatever information you're trying to integrate. And then all of those things, again, they all have to relate back to your thesis. Your thesis is your guide. So with paragraph length, there's no set length, there's no prescribed number of lines or sentences for any of your paragraphs. I will say that occasionally you will get assignments such as discussion boards or something like that where it says you need at least a 5-line paragraph. That's not the same thing as what this is talking about. That's assignment specific. Paragraph length in general, when you're writing, there's no set length. You want to try to avoid 1 or 2 sentence paragraphs. Those are frequently seen in newspapers or magazine articles, but keep in mind those are per word and they have limited column space. If your paragraph is growing far too long, you need to look for a logical place to divide your information and start a new paragraph. While there's no set length, there are correct ways to break into paragraphs like we're talking about. If you at any point see a full page of text, you have got to stop and edit your paragraph, because chances are you've blended 2, 3, even 4 or 5 paragraphs together and have not put in appropriate breaks. Very rarely in 101 and even 102 will you have an entire page of text or even a half a page of unbroken text. It's almost always going to be considerably smaller than that. So again, if you see a full page of text, red flags should go off in your head and you should stop and look for places to edit. And paragraph unity. So every sentence in a body paragraph should relate directly to the main idea presented by the topic sentence. A paragraph must stick to its announced subject. It must not drift away into another discussion. If you're moving to another discussion, then it's time for a new paragraph. And don't end a paragraph with a new idea. I want to note too that if you're bringing research in, research can't open your paragraph and research can't close your paragraph. Again, as you've learned now, if you're bringing in a topic sentence, well, research can't do that for you. You have to make the opening statement with your topic sentence. Research is used to support what you're saying, so if you haven't said anything, then it can't be used as support. So an opening in the first line of a paragraph is not the correct place for it, nor is closing with it. So remember to integrate that into your paragraphs and not just leave it at the beginning or the end. So there are 5 important means of achieving coherence in your paragraphs. You want to have a natural or easily recognized order. You want to include transitional words and phrases. You want repetition of keywords, but not to the point where it's so noticeable that it's kind of odd. Substitution of pronouns for key nouns, and parallelism. So here are some examples. You have recognized order, which is sequenced by time, sequenced by space, it's deductive, it's inductive. And then you want transitions where you're giving examples, you're comparing and contrasting, you're sequencing, you're giving results. And then repetition of terms. That's where you repeat key terms to connect thoughts. So often you'll find this in argumentative papers or persuasion papers because you can't let the reader forget what your main purpose of writing is. And with our paper, which is a definition paper, you're probably going to see the keyword repeated a few times. Pronouns. This is a consistent use of pronoun and antecedent, which if you don't remember what those are, you can use your handbook. And finally, parallelism, which is where you repeat the grammatical structure to build coherence. So everything runs parallel. So if you're talking about two boys, you don't suddenly start referring to what they're doing as though one person is doing it. And there are more examples also in your handbook, both in the back of your textbook and in your actual handbook. And finally, paragraph sequence. So use the order that most effectively reaches and can hold the reader's attention. And you also want to use transitional devices to link paragraphs. In college writing, you want to try to move away from using the firstly, secondly, thirdly way of writing. That's great when you're learning how to sequence, when you're in middle school and high school, but as you're moving into college writing, it's really important to move away from that. You can make a point within a paragraph by saying first and second, but generally speaking, to label each main paragraph with first, second, third isn't really what we want to do anymore. We want to move away from that. It's not necessarily wrong, but it's a very young way to write in a sense. You want to try to evolve your writing to a more academic style. So if you need that to hold your place at first, it's totally fine to have that. But as you go back through your editing process, you want to take that out, because if you're sequencing it correctly, then you don't need to tell me or other readers first, second, third. So best tip, generally try to avoid that. If you have any questions, as always, please get in touch with me. Thanks.